Welcome everyone to ACE Weekly. My name is Avalola and I teach persons skills that they can use to create their own earning opportunities. These skills can either be used online or in a regular 9 to 5 business or your own offline business. So don't think that because these are digital skills, you can only offer them online. You can offer them to persons who are in need of these skills. Now, if you have any questions during the session, remember to put them in the comments area. I'm using the app StreamYard. So if you're not signed up with StreamYard, I may not know who is making the comments. So it may say Facebook user, and I don't know who the Facebook user is. All right. So for those joining, just give me a hi in the comments area so that I can know who is here with me tonight. So just say hi in the comments area. Let me know if you're excited for tonight's session. Tonight I'll be looking on how to communicate successfully with potential buyers on Fiverr. Now, Fiverr is an online platform that allows sellers to sell digital services to persons all over the world. So we're going to look on how can you communicate with these buyers successfully. Common question that persons always ask: how do I communicate with a buyer? How do I engage with them? How do I go from messages to orders and things like those? So we're going to be looking on some tips that I actually use when I am communicating with these buyers. All right. So we have Vanessa saying hi and Sharika, as well as Claudia saying hello. Hi guys. So we're going to just jump in to tonight's session. So we have Denise as well saying hi. Hi, Denise. So let's get right to the meat of the matter. So I'm live right now on my Facebook business page, my YouTube channel, as well as my Facebook group, and all go by the name Ace It with Ava. So if you're not in my group, it's free to join. Just go to Ace It with Ava and you can join the group for free. My YouTube channel, Ace It with Ava. Subscribe to the channel for those who are watching right now. Make sure that you like, share this video with anyone you think will benefit from it. All right. So, all right. So we have Faith. I'm not a fan of Facebook. Hi. Well, you're using it. Thank you for joining me live. And here we have, remember I say if it says Facebook user, that means you haven't signed up with StreamYard. So I don't know who is commenting, but this user is saying, hey, everyone. And Kerry is saying hi. Hi, Kerry, as well as Casey is saying hi as well. So hi guys, and let's get into tonight's lesson. So remember, this ACE weekly session is every Wednesday. Is today Wednesday? I was like, what is today? Because Monday was Labor Day. I'm all mixed up. I'm like, is today Tuesday? What is today? So today is Wednesday. So every Wednesday at 8:30, live on those three areas: my YouTube channel, my Facebook business page, as well as my Facebook group, all by the name Ace It with Ava. So we have Julia here. Hi, Julia. Okay, so how to communicate successfully with the potential buyer on Fiverr. So remember, if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments area and I'll get to them throughout the presentation. All right, so that's what we're going to be looking on. Now, the first thing you want to do, respond quickly to messages. Nobody likes to wait when they have made an inquiry about something. So you want to make sure that you're responding quickly to messages. Now, on the Fiverr platform, you have something called response rate and response time. Now, these two things count towards your statistics. Now, why are you concerned with statistics on Fiverr? Fiverr has a level system. So you start off as a new seller, then you can upgrade to a level 1 automatically if you meet certain requirements, and response rate and response time are one of those requirements. You have to make sure that you maintain a 90% minimum response rate and time in order to be able to keep that statistics as what you want it. Now, the lowest response time you can have is 1 hour. So some persons think that you can have minutes or so on. 1 hour is the lowest response time. Now, the response time, the buyer can actually see this response time. So if your response time on your profile says 17 hours, 10 days, 2 weeks, you're saying to yourself as a buyer, if I send this person a message, I'm not going to get any response until 17 hours later or 2 days later. So you want to make sure that you reply to all messages that you receive. Notice I said all messages that you receive within 24 hours of receiving them, or else your response rate and time will be affected. Now, response rate is a percentage of what's going on with how fast you respond to messages. So the maximum you can have is 100%, and the lowest you should have to maintain your statistics is 90%. Now, the buyer does not see the percentage response rate. They only see the response time. Now, notice that I said respond to all messages because you may be getting messages from persons who may be looking for work. You're a seller on Fiverr and some persons may be asking you, do you have any work? Or there may be scammy messages, as in persons are sending you messages with things that don't seem right and things like that. Some persons tend to not respond to a message because they're not interested in what the person has to say. You have to respond to every single message to make sure that your statistics are maintained. So if you're not interested in whatever is being said to you in a message, you can simply just reply, hi, thank you for showing interest in my services. However, I'm not available to assist you, or unfortunately, I'm not able to do this or that or whatever it is, but always do so in a respectable manner, no matter what is being messaged to you. So always respond to every message. All right. So we have Paula saying, hola. Hi, Paula. So make sure that you respond to all messages. Now, the great thing about Fiverr is that it has something called quick response, which allows you to be able to respond quickly by having a pre-typed message that you create based on what you think potential buyers may be saying to you, or you just have a generic message that you create so that when somebody sends you a message and you're not able to write up a formal thing, you have a pre-typed quick response created in order to respond to them. I'm going to head over to Fiverr and just show you this quick response area quickly. All right, so let me get head on over there. All right, so here I am in my messages area and I have a buyer right here. So here's my inbox. So right here you have, let me just hide this part. We have an icon here that looks like a lightning bolt and it says quick response. Use a quick response. So when you click this icon right here, you have some pre-typed responses that Fiverr themselves have made available for you. So if you click on it, you'll actually see the message there in your message area where you can respond with this if you want to. So notice that it fills in the buyer's name for you. It says, hi, thanks for contacting me. I would be very interested in working with you on this project. And here it says, please add details here. Obviously, you would be putting in the details there. And it says, thanks. And then it automatically puts your username. So that's one example. So that's a pre-typed one that Fiverr had. So we see you have some pre-typed ones. Now, if you want to edit any of these that actually come with the platform, you can click this icon right here, which is a universal edit icon, which is a pencil. And here we have this option here. If you saw it, maybe I moved too quickly. It actually looks like a little, so two papers. When you click on it, you can actually go in here and do your fixing and all these things. All right, so you can take out what you don't want and all of these things, and you can name the quick response. That's what this message or this response is about. So here it gives you a tip. It says type, and then it has these curly brackets, username, to automatically insert the recipient's username. For example, hi, and then it has that curly bracket username. So it's just giving you a way to personalize your response message. So you can also create your own by going here, and here it says create a new quick response. So I can create one from scratch, type in whatever I want, set it up however I want. Notice that there's a character max, 2,500 words and characters, sorry, and your name for your quick response, you have 30 characters that you can use. Note that spaces are characters. A lot of persons didn't know that a space is a character, but anything that you can press on your keyboard is a character, and you have a space bar, so that's a character as well. So quick response is a very easy, efficient way to be able to respond to your messages quickly on the Fiverr platform. Note that in case you didn't know, when you have your gig, here I have an example of a gig here. This is my video editing gig. Did you know, I don't know how many persons have noticed this, but Fiverr has actually branded gigs and let buyers know if this user is a highly responsive user. So it says known for exceptionally quick replies. So you would love to have this on your gig so persons know that when they're looking on your gig, like a buyer is looking on this gig, they say, oh, if I message this particular seller, I am going to get a fast response. Because at the end of the day, people want their work to be done and they want persons who are going to respond quickly to them. So make use of the quick response and make sure you respond to all messages so that you can get this stamped on your profile. All right, so let's go back to the slides. So you also want to use the Fiverr app. Use the Fiverr app. Now the Fiverr app you can install on your mobile device or your tablet. And what this allows you to do is be able to get messages on the go. So you're not missing anything. Sorry if you're not signed up to the computer on the website. So have the Fiverr app installed. Go to your Play Store if you're using Android or your Apple Store and get the Fiverr app. Keep signed into the app and keep the app open in order to be able to get the necessary notifications. And a good thing as well, on the app, there's an option there that allows you to say you're online. Keep the online. Show yourself as being online so that buyers know that, yes, this seller is someone that I can get the work done quickly because they are online. Because you can actually search for sellers who are online and purchase from them. All right, so I have some persons joining. So we have Felicia saying hi. Lakeisha is, I'm not sure why the name is there. Oh, you're tagging someone. Okay, so Lakeisha is tagging someone, I'm assuming, tagging Monique and Celia. And we have Shamar here. All right, so welcome to those just joining. So I'm looking on how to successfully communicate with a potential buyer on the Fiverr platform. And even though I'm talking about the Fiverr platform, this is communication in general, whether you're on Fiverr or any other online platform, even in social media. On your Facebook business page, you can actually be able to respond to messages that you get. And Facebook also brands your page with a badge or some sort that says this page usually communicates within XY time and so on. So it's always good to communicate fast. People want to get their work done and such. So here you see on the slide, we're telling you about the Fiverr app and we're letting you know that there is a badge for highly responsive quick replies that you can get on your gig. And the only way you can get that is by continuously replying fast. Now, some persons, because you have within 24 hours, you say, okay, I'm not going to respond now. As soon as you get the notification that you have a message, respond. Some buyers may be sending more than one seller the same message, and the person who responds the first is the one who gets the job. Now, be clear in your messages. I can't stress this enough. Be clear in your message. So to put this point in, let's look at a sample conversation. So here we have the buyer says, hello, are you able to create a logo for my business? And the seller says, yeah, I'm able to do that. Then the buyer says, what would be the cost? And the seller says, got to know how complex. Now, right away, tell me what's red flags in these messages with the responses of the seller. Tell me some of the red flags you see. What are the red flags? So just look at the seller's response. What are the red flags you see going on here? Now, you want to make sure that when you're communicating, as we said, you're clear with your message to the buyer. So what do you need to take into consideration? Proper grammar. You need to make sure that all sentences start with capital letters, and you want to make sure that you're writing full sentences. Note that the buyer is not your friend. You're to speak with them in a professional manner, and make sure that you're clear with what you have to say. Don't use broken English like instead of Y-O-U, you're using the letter U, and instead of A-R-E, you're using the letter R and such. So no shortcuts or broken English when you're using or sending messages to the buyer. So what did you see seems out of place with these messages? So let me know. Waiting for person to say something. What do you see out of place here? Just checking to see if anyone is writing anything. All right. So let me point out the first one. The seller say, yeah, you don't answer someone. Yeah, yeah. What would you say? We're going to look at sample conversation 2, an example of how you could do it. Remember, there's no hard and fast way to answer a buyer. These are just suggestions and ways that I have found have been good to use when you're responding to a buyer. All right. So we have Julia saying, yeah, as if it's their buddy. All right. So no, yeah, yeah. No, that's very informal. It's not their friend and such. So let's look at a possible way to answer. Okay, possible way. All right. So Julia says she's confused by the second response. All right. So let's look and see. So the second response, let's go back. So the second response was got to know how complex. So let's see what they should have asked. All right. So right now we have the sample conversation too. So buyer said, hello, are you able to create a logo for my business? Seller says, hello, thank you for showing interest in my services. Yes, I can create a logo for you. Now it's good to kind of write back some of what the buyer had written to you so they know that you're actually reading what they had asked you to do. They know that you have read the message carefully. Then the buyer says, what would the cost? What would be the cost? And the seller says, the cost is based on how complex you want the logo to be. Is it possible for you to tell me what concept you had in mind? So when they're talking about how complex, they're saying based on the design, how intricate is the design? Do you want a simple logo? What kind of logo do you want? So maybe the seller could have broken it down a little bit more, but this is just a general example of what is a better response than the first sample conversation. So here it says, is it possible to send me the concept you had in mind? So they're checking, are you okay with doing so? They're not demanding and saying, send me what you had in mind. I want to see, you're still being respectful and asking, is it possible? Can you send me the ideas you had in mind? So notice that the seller is writing in proper sentences. They have their full stop, their commas where needed, grammatically correct, and so on, because they're communicating in a professional way. And I'm telling you, even though you're sending messages, how you type your message can say a lot about you as a seller. So don't think you have to speak to the buyer, actually voice to the buyer what your personality and your work ethic and your professionalism is by how you are writing the message that will show that there as well. Now, another thing I do recommend is to be honest. Be honest. Unfortunately, we have a lot of sellers who are not honest about what they're capable of doing, whether it be the skill level that they have, how long it's going to take them to complete the job. Just be honest. Be realistic with the times that you're giving for delivery and what you're capable of doing. So they say buyers appreciate the honesty of a seller. If you're asked to assist with a project and there are aspects of the project that you're not able to do, be honest with the buyer with your lack of knowledge. Yes, your lack of knowledge, because you won't be able to do everything that a buyer may ask you to do. You won't be able to do every single thing. Let them know what you can do. And as it says here, you can let them know that you're willing to do some research to find out how or what is needed, and let them know if you're able to assist them at all. So some buyers, the reason you need to let them know that you're willing to research if you choose to is that because you're researching, it may take you a bit longer than the buyer may have planned. But if they want to work with you, and based on your honesty, they say, you know what, I'll give you a few more days because it's going to take you a bit of time to learn what you want to do. to get this job done for me. So be honest. Remember, the buyers have their deadlines to meet, so don't play with their time. Don't play with their money, because remember, time is money. If you're delaying the job because of your lack of knowledge, you weren't honest about when you would send the delivery, you weren't honest about what you're capable of doing, this hurts you as the seller in the long run. Because on all of these platforms, most of them, they have the capability to review you based on your communication, what you were able to do with the task, and how long it took you to do it. So bear in mind these things. All right. So we have Kerry saying that, oh yes, it pays. Kerry, it actually pays. It literally pays, to be honest. So you can get more money because you're honest, because the buyer can tip you because of how you communicated with your honesty. And Julia is saying that the seller must always be respectful and professional, even if it's a frequent buyer. Of course, because one thing I learned, even if you have a frequent buyer or somebody who buys from you all the time, what happens is that you're only as good as your last delivery. Always remember that. You may have a buyer who has bought from you 100 times, and when the 101st delivery or whatever you did was not good, you will be surprised that that buyer may not leave you a good review. So always make sure that even if it's a repeat buyer, you are always treating them with respect and communicating often. Let them know step by step what's going on with that project and so on. That's one step I didn't add on to this, but we want to make sure that you're always keeping your buyer up to date with your progress with a project. All right. So ask questions. A lot of sellers don't want to ask questions of buyers because they feel as if, oh my gosh, the buyer is going to think that I'm not knowledgeable, I'm stupid, I'm this, I'm that, I'm, foolish. Ask them questions. If you're unclear about any aspect of the task at hand, ask questions. Buyers love when sellers ask questions because it shows that they want to make sure that they are doing exactly what is needed to have a great result. You're showing interest in doing a good job. That shows the potential buyer that this seller is interested in doing exactly what I need done. So do not be afraid to ask questions. It's always best to ask the buyer the questions you need than saying, okay, I'm going to ask a friend. What do you think? What do you think they need? What do you think they want? Who can best tell you what the person wants that has the job to do? The buyer themselves. They are the ones who can tell you, yes, this is what I want done. No, I don't need this. Yes, I need this, and so on. So always check with the buyer what you need done. So do not be afraid to ask as many questions as possible and ask in a way that it shows that you're interested. So could you clarify that the last step of your message? I just want to make sure that I'm getting things done the way you want it. Word it that way so that it doesn't sound like you're just asking random questions. You're asking questions in order to make sure that you're going to do a good job. So far, based on the things that I've been saying so far about how to be a successful communicator with your potential buyer, are you doing some of these things? Because I see that a lot of persons that I have here on this session, I know you as actual online freelancers. So are you doing these things? Give me a yes in the comments, or a no, or a maybe, or most. Are you doing most of these things in your business? I should hope that I'm seeing yes, you're doing all of them and most of them. We don't want to see any no's, you're not doing it, because if you're not, you need to start doing them, because you want to make sure that you are always turning potential messages into an order. So make sure that you're doing that. So Claudia says yes, and she has her hands up. And we have Julia saying yes as well. Sharika says yes, definitely. You need to be doing those things, all right, to make sure that you are getting a repeat buyer by doing what you should. All right, so try my best to. And Felicia says yes, and Kerry says yes, but it's good to be reminded, definitely, because sometimes we forget, and you want to make sure that you're consistent as a seller. Now, warning, yeah, that's my buzzer. Warning, this has to be mentioned when it comes to communicating on the Fiverr platform. All platforms have their rules and regulations, and Fiverr is no different. So pay close attention and note that as sellers, what you do on the platform is at your own risk. Now, note that your Fiverr account can be disabled, which means you don't have no account anymore at any time if Fiverr thinks that you are breaking their terms of service. All right. So let's see what this is all about. Sharing contact information. Now, all communication should stay on the Fiverr platform as stated in Fiverr's terms of service. If you do not know Fiverr's terms of service, make sure that today is the day that you make a note of these terms of service. They're updated from time to time, so make sure that you check out their terms of service. They tell you about the rules and regulations for the platform. So what they want to know is that you're not supposed to exchange contact information with the buyer. Now, what are examples of this? Phone numbers, email addresses. Yes, email addresses. But we know that as seasoned sellers, if you're a seasoned seller, you know that for the job, sometimes an email address may be needed. Now, Fiverr claims that you can send this email address in the order area. Now, the order area is another area that you can send messages to the buyer after they have purchased from you. And they say that you can send your email address there. All right. But what I don't like is that, as I said here, Fiverr flags certain keywords, and this may result in your account being permanently disabled. What do I mean about flagging certain keywords? There are words that are in their system as trigger words to notify Fiverr, this person is doing what they shouldn't. Even if what is in the conversation wasn't anything concerning about working off the platform and those things, but that word is a trigger word. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So let me head back over to my area to show you what I'm talking about. All right, so trigger words. So let me type. If I type email, you notice how I typed it? It says terms of service reminder. Providing email, Skype, or phone number is only allowed if it's part of the service. Otherwise, all communication must go through Fiverr. All right. So you notice I said if it's part of the service. So suppose Fiverr deems that it's not part of your service. Suppose they deem it's not part of your service. Now look at this little trick. Because email is a flagged word, and we know that sometimes, and by the way, this happens whether it's in the regular inbox or on your order page. It brings up this message. So notice that when I type the word E space and a mail, it's not looked at as a trigger word. Notice that? It's not looked at as a trigger word anymore. So that's a little trick that I myself use if I need to send an email address, whether it is in the order page, as Fiverr says I can do, I still do that. Now, if I'm going to write my email, so suppose I'm writing my email ACIT with Ava, look what happens. Once I type the @ sign, that's a flag because Fiverr knows that the @ sign is usually used with an email. So I type the word AT and then I can type gmail.com. So that's just a little trick I use just to make sure that the email is not being flagged, even though they tell me I can use email as part of the service, which that's why I'm using the email in the messages anyway, as it's needed for the service. Because if they're maybe linking me to a Google Drive folder that they need me to access to do the work for them, they may need my email to do so. Some clients don't know that you don't need someone's email address to share a Google Drive link with them. Some of them don't know this, so they think that you have to have the link in order to share with the person. All right, so that's just a little thing that I do when I want to exchange that. All right, so that's what I do with that. So let's go back to the slides. All right, so they flagged certain keywords. So we saw that email was one. They actually flag if you type Skype as is, that's flagged. If you type money for sure and pay, and I'm saying think about it, why money and pay? Because those things will come up if you're talking about sales, right? You're talking about making a purchase, but you can say the word cost and so on. All right, so Let me see what certain people are putting. So we have Claudia was saying that one buyer said she would place me on her favorite list for future work. Yes, that's good. So Paula is asking, what about E? Once you don't type the word EMAIL as it is, then you're good. Now note that you don't know when your words are being flagged when you're using the Fiverr app. The Fiverr app, note please, the Fiverr app, you could be using words that are being flagged, trigger words, in the Fiverr app messages and don't know because you don't get a notification. You do not get a notification when you're sending these messages through the Fiverr app. So you may be flagging. You may be using all the wrong trigger words and then get a message, email from Fiverr saying your account has been disabled. And you didn't even know that you're using words that you shouldn't, all right? So we have Felicia saying that's for that information about the email. I'm assuming you meant thanks for that information. All right. And Claudia says that's what I do as well. Okay. So this now, the client shared their phone number with me by spelling out the numbers. So you do have some buyers who are regular buyers on the platform and know about the flagging system. All right. But guess what? A client, based on what they're sending to you with information, can get your account flagged too. They can get your account flagged too. So unfortunately, it's a case where you are at risk from the client not knowing what they can and cannot do or what they should and should not do with the platform as well. But just know on your side, make sure that you're not doing what you shouldn't be doing. Now, because persons, if a client comes to you and talks about, this is my number, call me about XYZ, I would advise not to use the words, I am not permitted to work outside of the Fiverr platform, whatever, whatever. I wouldn't use the words outside of the Fiverr platform because you see, because it's a AI that is using trigger words and flagging words in the system, they may think that you're saying, come on, let's work outside of the platform. They're not looking at your sentence in context. So if you see someone putting what they shouldn't, and based on what they had typed previously in the messages, it seemed like somebody that you wanted to work with and they seem legit, then you can say, you can send me all the correspondence you need right here in the messages and I will get them. Because some buyers don't know how the platform works. They don't know that they can send you messages. They don't know that they can send you attachments. They don't know these things. So they just think, okay, let me email you this or let me call you and explain what's going on. They may not know how the platform works. So it's not like they're coming around to disable your account, as in do things that are going to get you in trouble. They genuinely don't know. So you can talk a client through difficulties with like file sharing. Some clients don't know how to share large files with you because the Fiverr platform only allows you to upload a maximum of 5 GB of data. And if the client has, suppose they want for you to transcribe 40 videos. And if anybody knows anything about videos, if they have to have the actual video files are large. 40 videos cannot be uploaded on Fiverr. It's not enough space. So they need to know about cloud storage and how it operates. So you yourself as a seller needs to be knowledgeable about knowing that you can store files on certain platforms like Google Drive and Dropbox, or even share by WeTransfer, and be able to share the files that way so that you can get access to them. So you yourself need to be knowledgeable about these things as the seller. You have to help the buyers, and buyers appreciate it when you help them. So don't say, what's wrong with this stupid buyer? Be helpful as a seller, and you'll be surprised that you have a buyer for life, depending on how you were with what you had done. Now, another confusion persons have about this work outside Fiverr. For instance, if you're doing a social media job, you're saying, but I'm working outside of the platform. That's not what outside of the platform means. Outside of the platform means that you're not taking payment through the platform. You're not transferring certain information through the platform. Fiverr is a business. They don't want to be losing any money. Note that they take 20% of all the sales that a seller gets, and that includes tips. So if a buyer tips you, 20% comes off of that too. And they're taking from the buyer as well. Buyers are also charged a certain percentage. A lot of sellers don't know this. So for instance, if you're charging a buyer $5 for a particular service, the buyer is charged $7.28. So they're charged as well. And the charge increases depending on how big the order is. So any order over $40, $40 and up, tends to have a larger charge of the buyer. So you may consider that when you're pricing as well. Note that the buyer is being charged too. But I think Fiverr is a great platform to work on, whether we're being charged or not, because this is an area that is advertising to get buyers to come in to buy from you, the seller, because they want to be selling things, because they're a business, so they want to be making money, right? So even though you're being charged a fee to work on the not charge a fee to work there, but whatever you earn is getting a deduction, at least you have a place that you can easily get buyers from all over the world. All right. So let us go here. So story time, story time. How you communicate can lead to big bucks. How you communicate can lead to big bucks. What do I mean by this? Just by how you type to the buyer can impress them or turn them off. So let me tell you a story. I have a recent buyer that I got through social media. So this particular buyer was on Facebook and they were doing a live reading of a chapter of a book for 81 days. Yes, they were doing 81 Facebook lives. And what they want to do is to combine these Facebook live videos into one video and talk about the chapters of the book. So a service I offer is video editing. So basically they want to string all of these videos together as one video. So they needed me to actually download each of these Facebook lives, 81 videos, and then they need me to join them together. Now, just by the communication with the buyer, I did not start the work as yet, as in what needed to be done, as in making the video. I was asking them questions about the prep work. I was saying, okay, I checked the Facebook page, not page, it was their actual personal profile. And I say, I saw 86 videos because they told me 81. So they told me there were some technical difficulties with some of the lives, so I had to redo some of them. So what I did, I created a Google spreadsheet and listed all the 86 videos. I made a note of which ones were duplicate, as in the ones they had to do over. And then I also let them know that out of the 81 chapters, one of the chapters, I did not see it. And I sent them that in a message. And the person said, oh my gosh, you have been so helpful and so thorough with this job. I don't remember now. I don't start the job yet, I don't do what they tell me to do. But based on how I've been communicating with them and being clear about what is there, what is needed, and explaining different things to them and what can be done, I charged them a certain amount. I told them what the amount was. And they said, listen, I am going to give you a tip because of how you have been clear and thorough with the job. Remember, I don't do the work yet, and they're saying they're going to give me a tip. So I'm saying, okay. So I continued to update them and give them everything that they needed. And then when I actually started the job itself, I sent them a sample of what it would look like. And they said everything was okay. And I went ahead and did the job. And when I got paid, guys, I kid you not, the person paid me twice what I had charged, 2 times. So the tip was double. They doubled whatever I had charged. And I know that is based on how I had communicated with them, kept them abreast of what was going on, tried to be clear about what needed to be done. Because this person didn't know anything about video editing. They didn't know that this is possible, this is not possible. We can do this. Service you're offering. All right. So Claudia is saying that the live is frozen. Am I frozen for anybody else? Let me know. Am I frozen? Yes? No? Am I frozen? Just give me a quick yes or no. Am I frozen? All right. So always make sure that you are clear as to what you are doing. Okay, so I was frozen. Okay. So I'm not sure what you had missed. What did we miss, guys? I'm not sure what part you had missed based on me being frozen. I was telling you about Fiverr allowing some sellers know to have a business profile, a Fiverr business profile, and they're showcasing you as an expert. I don't know if that part got out before I was frozen. And I was asking if there are any sellers, experienced sellers here who have seen that they have been given that option to have a Fiverr business profile. All right. Oh, I got cut out at the getting paid twice. Okay. All right. So I was saying that I got paid double the amount that I charged them. And I knew that this was because of the communication that was done and being thorough about what was done. I was saying that some buyers are not sure what can be done and what cannot be done. So as a seller, you are the expert and you should let them know what can and cannot be done. As I said, be honest about your skill level as well. Let them know what you can do and what you cannot do. Always give the buyer the option to do what? Go elsewhere. You may say, oh, I'm turning away work. But guess what? You are showing the buyer that you are honest in what your capabilities are. And 99.9% of the time, they tend to stay with you with what you are capable of doing because they say that this is an honest person and they will come back to you to give you future jobs. So always be honest about what you have to say. And for this particular buyer, what has happened now is that I'm doing another job for them with that same job. I'm being more detailed now. So before they just wanted me to join the 81 videos, but no, by the way, these 81 videos were a minute. They're very short. So they want me now to fine tune the edit. So we're going to be taking out any dead spaces and just making a clean cut where it just plays seamlessly. All right. So Claudia is asking, is there a limit on Fiverr side to the amount of tip a buyer can give you? Well, I have actually heard some buyers say that they tried to give a larger tip and weren't able to do so. Not sure the truth in that because persons have gotten $100 tip and so on. So not sure the exact limit, if there is a limit with how much you can tip. I know that with seller accounts, there is a limit to certain levels, how much money you can charge for a custom offer and such. So maybe the buyer does have a limit. I'm not sure if there's a limit with the tip, but I know that very large tips can be given. All right, so the point of this session today, guys, communicate with your buyer as efficiently, clearly as you can for success. You want to make sure that they're clear as to what you can do and what you can't do. Communicate quickly, be honest, let them know updates based on what's being done with the project. These things make a difference between repeat business, a tip, and all these things. All right, so some persons may say that they are, what's I saying? Oh, got distracted by the questions coming in. All right, so Claudia said that she had experiences of that where there was a limit with what the buyer could tip. Sandra is asking, what's the limit on a custom offer? It depends on the level that you are at. It will tell you when you try to send a custom offer, it will tell you the maximum amount that you can do. It's there when you're doing it. When you're sending the custom offer to the client, in the total amount section, it's actually telling you the maximum you can send. So check it out next time you're sending a custom offer, or you don't even have to be sending one. You can just go to create an offer and send that way. All right. So make sure that you're employing some of these things in your online business so that you can set yourself up for success. So what's the average selling price? Is this a guide? Is there a guide? Is this a guide of what you can charge? Or are you asking if there is a guide? There's no average selling price. The great thing about Fiverr, you can charge whatever you want. Persons always suggest you start lower end and then you raise your prices as you go along. So there's no average selling price for anything. You can charge whatever you want. Be reasonable with your prices. Don't overcharge. Bear in mind your level as a seller. We know that some persons are coming on the platform with certain skills and qualifications, but in this online world, you're all on the same level. People don't care about qualifications, they care about your capability of doing the task. And buyers love deals. Always note that they love to get a good deal. So that's why starting off low is good. And when we say starting off low, it doesn't mean that you have to start at the $5 amount. You start based on what the service is. So not all services are $5 services. So you're not going to come out and say, I'll design your website for $5. People are going to say, design my website for $5. What's this? Is that a joke? All right. So bear in mind the service and the dollar amount you will start off at. All right, guys. Okay, so I always like to close off by letting you know that if you're interested in knowing more things like these and having someone that you can call on to assist you during your online journey and learn new skills along the way so that you can be more skilled and be able to charge more for your services, remember that you can reach out to me and find out more about my paid membership program, where it's a supportive community that you can have like-minded people plus have access to me to help you along your online journey. And you can email me at info@acitwithava.com or acitwithava@gmail.com to ask more questions. All right. So I have another question here. I think I'm giving away my services. So that's Claudia. In the beginning, it may seem like you're giving away your services, but you can raise your prices after. And because you were a good seller, a tried and proven, reliable seller, the buyer will pay. All right. So Denise is saying, in using Bitdefender, are you allowed another free one after the first one is expired? If it tells you that your Bitdefender has expired, it's just a way to try to get you to pay for the new version. Whatever you have as a free version is still intact. So make sure that you're reading the instructions carefully. All right. So check that out properly. And we have Julia, necessary reminders and awesome information as usual. You're welcome. You're welcome, Julia. All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining me on tonight's ACE Weekly. Check me out again next Wednesday at 8:30, where I'm going to be teaching you some tips and tricks that you can use in your online business or regular life to make your life easier. Learn new skills that you can use to create your own earning opportunities. So if you're watching this session on a replay, just put hashtag replay and ask any questions that you have during the session, and I will get to them when I'm able to, when I see the notification. All right, guys. Bye and have a great, great, great night. So we have this person saying, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. You're welcome. Claudia is saying, thank you very much for relevant info. You are welcome. Vanessa is saying, thanks, Ava, as always, I can't talk. Pleasure. You are welcome, everyone. And thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here live at this time. All right. And thank you, Faith, for your time for coming on and listening to what I have to say at this time. Okay. So we have Sharika and Felicia and Rafi. Oh, we have a lot of shots. Rafisha, as well as Sandra, and we have Denise. All right, guys. Night, night. Bye.